All right, so I wanted to go over a quick video of multi-time frame analysis. For me, when I'm trading, I trade on the 5 minute and on the 15 second. So I have to kind of know what both are doing, and I have them both pulled up when I'm trading. If you've ever seen one of my trading screens, they're usually split. I have a 5 minute over here and a 15 second over here. Now I do that as an easy reference, but I don't honestly need it. I can do just fine without it. There's reasons why I do that, and I can get into those details in a different video. But I wanted to show you real quick how to do this properly, so that you can start to see the market in a different way, just a little bit different that may truly help you. So first of all, let's just take this pattern right here. Okay, we have a really nice, beautiful downtrend going on here. So I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to mark the lows. If you've done any kind of trading, any kind of training or anything like that, you probably know exactly what I'm doing. But here's the low. It pulls back. It breaks down lower, right? Then we have this pullback. It comes down here, breaks down slightly lower, but it still breaks. So we'll call it. Good job. Give him his credit. Okay. Then he breaks down, gets lower right here. Yeah, that's perfect. And then he breaks down, gets lower right here. Okay. And so we'd go here. All right. And then he comes and he breaks down lower right there, gets down to this level. Okay. And then he pulls back here and gets down here and breaks lower right there. Nice little break. Make sure he gets his credit for his little tiny break right there. And we'll just keep going down through here, right? So this is kind of just, the lower low, wait for the pullback, wait for it to get lower, and your trend continues, right? So, okay, so we have a downtrend. It's very clear. Anybody looks at this chart, they can say that's a downtrend. If you brought your dog in, bark once for down, he would bark once, right? Like it's fairly obvious. Now here's the problem though, is that when you're trading live, the trend is your friend, right? Well, okay, so this guy just comes down like a monster, right? He comes down, and then all of a sudden he breaks up like this. What did he just do, right? He just had an ABC right here. He started a trend. This right here is a trend. If you're an Elliott Wave fan, that's a three-legged trend. That's a 1, 2, 3. If you're not, you would probably just call that a two-legged move, right? Some people would even call this like a two-legged pullback. But look right here. This is the level that we all go off of, right? To say like this is the previous the lower high, right? So he just got higher. He even closed higher. And then you can see he gets a pullback. He has a two-legged pullback right here, but it doesn't get below the wick, whatever. He comes up here, he tries to get higher, and then he keeps going. So that was always the hardest thing for me when I first started trading, and even like into more than a year in, I was like, I don't know what's happening because now I have a trend going this way. What is that my friend now? Like which trend is my friend? Is it that one? Is it this one now that it's heading back down again? What about this guy? Look how strong this guy is, right? Like he just broke again, well above the previous low, the higher low, all that stuff. Like it's a constant thing where it's like, well, I don't know which one is the trend, which one is my friend, and the very simple answer is that the trend that is your friend, is the higher time frame. Okay, now some people go one time frame higher. I go two. Maybe that's dangerous. Some people think that that's crazy, and I'm not being smart. Whatever the case, that's how I like to do it. So that's why I do the 5 minute and 15 second. Now let me show you this real quick. Okay, it's going to look very similar, but this right here, I'm going to put this down as red, and this is going to be the 5 minute. Okay, now when I do this, I'm just going to go through here. I'm going to mark the 5 minute low, and then I'm going to mark the next 5 minute low. Okay, so I would say it's there. And then I would mark it here to say that that's the next one. I'd probably mark this. I'm guessing that that closed. It may not have. It may just be a wick. Then we look at this. I'm going to say this is probably it still, even though that guy comes down like that. It might be here. Might be here. We'll just go ahead and mark it right there at that low. Then we'll go here. I'm guessing that's another one right there. Comes down here. This one's iffy. I'm not positive that that's going to be one. I'll go ahead and mark it, but this one, I'm going to say is a little bit of a question mark. Okay, it might be down here. This might actually be the proper spot for it. Okay, all right. And then when we come up here, this I believe is just going to be wicks right here, just wicks. Um, this one, I'm going back up here. This one is right there, and then this is the wick right here. I believe that that's what we're going to see. Don't know for sure, but that's what I believe we're going to see. This one right here is one. And this one right here too may end up being wicks from this one. I'm just not sure about it. But let's go ahead and jump over to the 5 minute and take a look at that. Okay. So let's get over there. So now when we go back to the 5 minute here, you can see it's pretty spot on. It's not going to be exact. There's the wicks. So that one wasn't the wicks. That was actually the low. Okay. So there's going to be little issues like that, and that's part of the reason. This is that one that I was like, I'm not sure, but that's part of the reason why I do have it up is to make sure that I'm exact on it. Because it is my time frame that I use for my direction. So it's super important that I have that. So let's go ahead and just correct this to just get it lined up perfectly, get everything exactly where it's supposed to go, and then we'll go back there and take a look at it. There's that one that I drew the question mark next to. You can see it's like it was that low, it wasn't that higher spot. But you can see like, okay, fine. I'm not perfect. I'm not exact on this. But the point is that you have to be able to see where the breaks are happening. Okay. So let's go back to that 15 second now and look at that. Okay. Okay. So then we go back there and we look at this again. Okay. There's one quick way to know who is in charge of this pullback, right? If is this a pullback, is it a reversal? What's happening right now? So here on the 15 seconds. So let's take a look at the 15 second, right? So we have a trend that comes in right here. Okay. So boy, that was about the worst possible drawing ever. Okay. But you can see that trend, right? That A, B, C, right? Here, there's no gap or anything like that. When we look at this one right here, this one has a gap in it, but it's not a huge gap. So it's probably a 1 minute pullback. Now this one, because of how fast this guy comes down, this may not be a pullback. It may just be wicks. I'm not sure. But you can see like this is more than just a 15 second pullback and go. We come over here. You can see like right here, this guy comes up and he pulls back and he breaks higher. That is a 1 minute for sure. There's no way that the 15 second did that. Look at this perfect little push up, pull back, break higher. Look at the gap there. There's no real gap there, right? So this is what I'm trying to say is like look at the gap between the pullback and when it gets higher, and that gives you a clue on who's in charge of this. So when we look at this one and I say, okay, that's probably a 1 minute, look at this. Do you see like that tells you that that's the 5 minute? You look over here, this tells you that that's the 5 minute. Look over here, 5 minute, right? So as you go along, you can see those gaps all throughout. 5 minute, 5 minute, 5 minute. This gap, this is no longer a 5 minute gap, is it? And as a matter of fact, when we look here, what do we see? That looks like a double bottom on the 5 minute possibly, right? Like, so you can even get into seeing things like the double tops and things like that. If we come up here, this right here is going to be a double top on the 15. So this is a little bit much, but you can see this gigantic gap right here. That's gonna be one on the 15, I bet. But right here you can see this right here is going to be your 5 minute ABC pulling back, and then you got this move right here that I think is going to be another ABC on the 5 minute, and then you're going to see it come down here, and it's going to break this area to do the confirmation on the double top for the 15. So we'll just go ahead and take a peek at the 5 minute and see how that looks. Okay, so you can see that gap right there on the 5 minute. You can see that that's a gap that's too big for the 5 minute. It's not a huge gap, but it's definitely bigger than just a 5 minute. Here's a 5 minute push up. You can see the difference, right? So sometimes they're a little bit longer than that, but like right here, here's a pullback and a break. That's a 5 minute break. It's not a 15, right? It's just too fast. So let's go to the 15 now and look at that. Okay, so you can see right here, this is clearly a double top on the 15. So the point of what I'm trying to get at here is that you need to be able to see this. Even though I'm a 15 second, 5 minute trader, I still have a pretty good idea what's going on the 15. I try not to go and look at it because once you look at it, it changes your current view of the market to where you have to have your anchor point. My anchor point's 5 minutes, and I try not to look any higher than that. Sometimes you'll see me go to the 60 even and take a look and see what the 60 is happening. But it's a super important thing that you're not jumping around time frames like that because it will throw off your whole queue. If you're trying to be a 15 second, 5 minute trader and you're looking at the 60 and the 60 is the buy, well now you're trying to buy on the 5 minute, 15 second. But the problem is that it takes so long to develop because remember going from five to the 60, you have a lot of candles in there that have to work itself out. just a wick is going to be several 5 minute candles. So a pullback on the 60 could be a really nice trend that you can grab on the 5 minute and make a lot of money. Where if your view is now changed because of that 60, you're going to miss that pullback. Now you can get into the idea of I only want to trade the 60 and then I go down to the 5 minute and 15 second. You can get into that sort of stuff. I get confused, so I stick with the 5 minute and 15 second. It makes me feel comfortable. I don't get overwhelmed with it. I feel like I know what's going on. But, you take a look at it and see what works best for you. But I would highly suggest sticking to the two time frames. I've seen lots of guys use the three time frames as well. But I personally, I like the two time frames. It feels right to me and I feel comfortable doing it. So that's what I do. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of give that quick idea of how you can look at that and how that would work out. So yeah, just let me know if you have any questions in the comments, if you want me to cover anything else. And let's just keep getting better together, guys. Let's go.